Hi guys, I wanted to welcome to another video book review. It's been a very long time since I've been one, since I added one to this channel. So yeah, hey, how you doing? All that good stuff. So I wanted to get a book review in, not just to add to the channel, but this book was actually a graphic novel that I read. It's one of the books that I wanted to try for a very long time, and then I found out that it was coming out in a graphic novel. So I thought I'd give the graphic novel a try first, and then actually read the book itself. So without making this long and overdrawn, that book is Kindred by Octavia Butler. She's a Black author, has written in a sci-fi genre for a very long time, and I've attempted to read her before, like back when I was in high school, and the writing didn't grab me at that time, which is just weird because I was a really huge Stephen King fan. Man, I'm still am a huge Stephen King fan. And although he was kind of like more like horror, kind of like, in, writing and stuff like that, I kind of felt like, their writing was all, was like on the same type of level. But I can't remember the name of the book that I tried to read by her when I first started. Oscar, go away. That's my dog, y'all. He's so big now. I decided, what was I saying? Oh my God, see, you made me forget. Anyway, you want to say hi? Say hi. Say hi. Okay, get down. Let me finish. You're going to make this all long and ridiculous. Stop! Stop it. So, oh my God, so where was that? So anyway, the book that I attempted to read by her was, I can't remember the name of it, but the character was like, she was this woman. She woke up like in a future, and she was like, on this spaceship with these aliens and, things like that. And they were trying to like, get her used to their world. And like, basically they were like, kind of like experimenting on her, to see how she would like, take to their world and stuff like that. So anyway, I couldn't get into that story, when I attempted to read it. So, I figured, let me give Miss Butler another try. I'm a little bit older now. My reading taste has changed a whole lot. I mean, and I read a little bit of everything, but I did, as I got older, I started reading, more into like romance and stuff like that, which is, in the romance genre right now is kind of like falling off a bit for me. It's taking a back seat. So I want to like, wet my tongue or wet my lips into, dipping into some things, more genres that I used to read, when I was coming up. So anyway, without further ado, that was so unnecessary. Let me just give you a quick run over of this book. So like I said, this is the graphic novel. I don't think it covers the original book, but it covers some key points within the original book. And it's very well done, which is why I said I'm going to actually read the original book, you know what I mean? Because I feel like some things were left out, you know what I mean? Since I didn't read the original book, I just feel like, some things were left out or whatever. But the book itself, so like I said, this is the cover. And I'll show you guys some, some inside of the book as I go through this. And the book is really, really light. The drawings, the graphic was really, really amazing. And the writing was well done too. So this book itself, it's in a sci-fi genre, and it's based on this character, Dana, who is currently living in the 70s, our time, the 70s and stuff like that, with her husband. And what happens is with Dana, she keeps having these not flashbacks, because I don't want to call them flashbacks, but she keeps having these episodes where she's actually transported back in time to see her, I believe her great grandfather, which was the white man. And this was really back during slavery time, that she used to go back to. And every time Dana would get transported back to her grandfather's time, her great grandfather's time, was when he always needed saving. You know, something bad was going to happen to him because he was a badass little kid and he just became a kind of a worse kind of an adult. But, you know, given the way he was raised and the time he was raised, you kind of saw that coming anyway. But so Dana, when Rufus, and her great grandfather was Rufus, so every time Rufus would, you know, be in a life, you know, his life was in danger type of a situation, Dana would get transported back to that time to help him. The story was like mind, you know, it was kind of like, it was mind blowing to me. It was just well done, you know what I mean? And the other thing that I liked about the story, you know, was that there were points in the story where Dana was actually able to take her husband, her current husband, who's also a white man, because, you know, she's married to a white guy in the 70s. She at sometimes was able to take him and bring him back, take him back in the past and bring him back in the future with her. But he had always had to have been around her, because there was a point in the story where she actually left him, you know, back in the past. And it was so funny, like in like the times that they would go back, you know, it would be like they would stay for like sometimes months and years. But always when they went back to the present, you know, to their present time, to the 70s, it was like they were gone for maybe like a couple of hours, you know, or, you know, maybe a week or something like that. But it was, I think the longest they were gone, I think I read it was getting towards like the end of the book, when she actually went back to try to get Kevin, her husband. I think she had stayed in her present time for like 3 months or something like that before, you know, Rufus, of course, got in trouble again, and she was able to, you know, she was able to go back and stuff like that. I just found it interesting, which is why I said I don't believe like this graphic novel covers, you know, the whole original story, because I just found it kind of weird that oh my God, I lost my train of thought. That bugs me out when I do that. Oh my God. Jeez Louise, I hate that. Let me move on. I'm quite sure I remember it again. But it was a good train of thought. Damn. I hate when I do that. Anyway, so let me just give you guys, you know, a peek inside. Let me move my wine so I won't knock it over. Give you a peek inside, you know, what's you know, how the actual book looks itself, you know. The drawings were like really, the graphics were really fantastic. And it was, I mean, graphic, which is why I say it is a graphic novel. And I would just say 18 years older, you know, to start reading this book. Because not only is it graphic, it goes into really deep details about slavery during that time, how slaves were treated, you know. Even when Dana went back herself, because she was a black woman, she was treated, you know, the same ways as, you know, the slaves, you know, during that time. I mean, she got whippings, and she had to do field work and stuff like that. It was just like really, really, you know, it was really, really, you know, something to read, you know. And Dana was a very strong female character. You know, she was able to go back and, you know, go back in the past and come back into her present time and just, you know, get herself, you know, reacquainted with what she left, you know, what she left behind. But she herself, even her husband Kevin, they started to realize, like, the more they went back, you know, the more they kind of got like used to being back in that time. And not that she got used to like being treated wrongly. I mean, because it was the 70s, but things still weren't that great for black people, you know, at that time, especially interracial couples, you know. Things still weren't all that awesome and great, but it was damn sure better than being back, you know, in the 1800s and, you know, slavery and stuff like that. So in the relationship between Dana and her great grandfather Rufus was a complicated relationship because, you know, from the time that she got transported back when he was like this little kid, you could see she was trying to like get him to do things right, you know, not to treat the slaves, you know, that his father owned and eventually he came to own. Not to treat them bad, you know, not to treat them the way that, you know, the other whites, you know, treated slaves, you know, black people back during that time. She was really trying to make him a bit of a better person, but he just, like, the more she left and came back, she just noticed this change in him. And Rufus was also, he was a lazy person. I'm sorry, he was a lazy white dude. You know, he was very privileged, you know, he was a very privileged kid, you know, coming up during that time. And he was just typical white person during that time. You know, he just felt like, I'm white and, you know, I get to do, especially as a white man, you know, I get to do and say what I want. And that's what he pretty much did, you know, as he got older. And although Dana loved him, she also hated him, you know, because he would just do things to her and do things to people that he claimed to love that just was not. You know, it was just not right, you know, and the story was just, it was an excellent cover of the original story. It was really well done, and like I said, the graphics that go into this book are just excellent as well. I mean, it's, yeah, I would definitely say, you know, 18 years older and older, as you know, if you read this book, because you know it was heart-wrenching to see some of the graphics in this book. It was heart-wrenching to read some of the words in this book. Don't you bark. You hear somebody at the door. You know, it was heart-wrenching to read, you know, things, and it's, you know, hate is hate. You know, if you're born and raised into it, stop it. You know, it's going to affect you, you know, either way. You know, rather you were a slave or rather you were, you know, a slave holder, you know, a person with power or a person without power during that time. Hate was hate, and it was just going to affect, it just affected everything and everybody. And Dana considered herself, you know, when she, you know, in her time in the 70s, she considered herself, you know, not a hateful person, you know, or anything like that. But, you know, going back to the 1800s and seeing how, you know, black people were treated and stuff like that, it affected her, you know, and it would, you know. So yeah, the story itself, it's like 240 pages. It's hardcover. Like I said, the cover is beautiful. The actual hardcover to the book itself is awesome, you know, and it's just really a well done graphic novel. And I haven't read one in a while, so it took me a while to get myself used to reading it again, because with graphic novels, you know, since you're reading like the little bubbles on top of the words and stuff, you know, you have to, like, you know, read across and see, you know, fit yourself to the story, you know, like see who was saying what, you know, and things like that. So it didn't take me that long, but, you know, I had to get myself acclimated to reading a graphic novel again. But it's a beautifully done. Stop it! Jeez Louise, man. What are you doing? I said cut it out. And get off me. Get out of here. But yeah, it's a beautifully done book. It's a beautifully told story. And the graphics are, yeah, they're just truly, really amazing. The price, I got it at Barnes & Noble, and I did use my employee discount. So, you know, it wasn't that expensive, but I think the price of this is like 20 bucks. Listen, dude, come away from that door. Hey, get from over there. Hold on, y'all. You better cut it out. People can't go wash their clothes. Stop being rude. Anyhow. But yeah, so the prices are like, around about $20, could be a little bit more. I don't know. Check your, whoever you go buy it for, check the prices, whatever. But it is a hardcover, it is a graphic novel, so they tend to be a little bit, more expensive. And I actually wanted to get this in the book format. I didn't want the Kindle or the Nook format or anything like that. I actually wanted this in a book format to add to my library. I actually have more books than this, but I need another shelf. I have one shelf over here on the side of my wall, but I need another one. So, I'm trying to build my library back up, But yeah, it's an excellently done book, excellently done story. I think they did a great job of covering the original story. The graphic, I think they did a damn good job with these graphics and, putting the pictures to the words, and the characters and, things like that. It's just a really well done graphic novel. So if you love sci-fi, science fiction is your thing, I'll definitely say give this a go. Rather you read the original book itself or, do a graphic novel. But if science fiction and graphic novels are your drugs of choice, now I'll definitely add this to my read list, and I would definitely add this to my book collection. It's just done. It's a beautiful book to have on, on your shelf, physically. And that's it for me. Until next time, later days. Bye.